Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I wanted to talk about difficult conversations because I've kind of touched on elements around this, but never actually really dealt with the difficult conversations themselves. And I'm talking specifically about the way that you would talk to someone if they're not performing well at work, or if they're in trouble to one extent or another, or if you've got some bad news to give them to one degree here or there, or even if you're discussing something with a friend or a romantic partner that has just kind of ended up doing a thing that maybe you feel could be improved. Whether it's that they've not sorted out the kitchen properly, or they came over to your house and you let them crash on your couch and they left the living room in a state by the time they left in the morning, without you even being there, or something like that. There are all kinds of tough conversations to have around all kinds of things, especially at work. The number of times that I had to have tough conversations about people's conduct, about progress reviews, about uniform and hygiene standards, even, all of these kind of things. They're never great conversations to have, but they're necessary. That you need to have that kind of ability to sit down and have these conversations. Now, let's start about when you come in and you sit down and you're gonna kind of engage with this person. Yeah. Now, this is something that I've seen an awful lot of managers do in the past, or fail to do in the past, I suppose. And that is that when they come in, because they know it's not going to be comfortable for them, they know it's not going to be an enjoyable experience, they know that they've just got to do it because they've got to do it, and whatever else, they will come in and they'll cross their arms, they'll be sat there, their head will be forward, they'll be kind of very dead eyes, and they just won't they might be making eye contact, but they won't be particularly engaged or engaging. It'll be very much a case of, I'm in this room with you and I don't really want to be, but I've got to be. Yeah. And this doesn't help anybody. Yeah. Especially not the person that you're there to actually talk to, because quite frankly, you're there to help them out. Yeah. You're there to sit down with them and have this discussion and kind of reach some kind of positive resolution for not just them, but for yourself as well, because that's why you're having the conversation. You've got a horse in this race, as it were. And so with humans, we tend to reflect people. Yeah. It's the whole old school body language thing of, oh well, if someone takes a sip of their drink when you do this, when you take a sip of yours, then there's a good chance that you're actually quite kind of connected to that person in terms of rapport, in terms of them being interested in what you're saying and what you're doing, because their body is picking up apart kind of your patterns and mirroring them, kind of picking them up and following suit. And so, if you're coming in and you're the person that's speaking from some level of authority, be it either an actual level of authority granted by a company hierarchy, or be it the fact that you've got a grievance with your partner or your friend or whatever else, and you've kind of wanted to sit them down and have this discussion, and so you're taking the initiative, regardless of which way it is, the best way to do it is to relax and take a kind of easy posture where you're comfortable and your body is open. Yeah. You want to control your voice so that you're not talking very, very, very quickly and it's all of these things and this is how we're going to do it and it's going to be terrible, but then we might also do this. And no, you want to talk kind of slowly and calmly, and you want to have a little bit of warmth to it, I guess, at least. You want to make sure that the kind of you're even toned and you're not being too negative. Yeah. Then the other two parts of that are obviously eye contact, which is important. But again, a lot of people either go one of two ways on eye contact, as we've talked about in another video that I did on the subject a while ago, which is either you've got people who are very averse to eye contact and so on and so forth. So even though it's a thing that you're told, make eye contact with people, so that they remember you, so that they take you seriously, so that, they can see that you're not lying to them and whatever else. That level of eye contact, a lot of people will either go, yeah, well, that means I need to stare the other person down, Or they'll go, yeah, but I don't like eye contact, so I don't think other people will either, so I'll just kind of occasionally glance at them. And when it comes to eye contact, keeping eye contact, talking directly to the person, that's an important thing. But obviously, you don't need to continually gaze into their eyes, lovingly or otherwise, but having that good level of maybe kind of 60-40 eye contact to looking away is kind of important, because it means that you're, they know that you're talking to them. Yeah, it's not a lecture, it's not lambasting them over nothing, it's you're talking to them. And again, with that follows the facial expression. And, faces are incredibly expressive things, but as I said before, a lot of managers or people that have come in to have these tough conversations, they will tend to be sat there and hard eyebrows and very kind of slack face, and they'll just be like, yeah, I'm here because I have to be, and I don't really want to be. But actually having a little bit of a smile on your face, actually being engaged, one of the things that I had to train myself into doing at one point was, I've got quite a substantial set of eyebrows here, and I tend to kind of frown a little bit just when I'm doing stuff. Yeah, and so when I was talking to people, I had to learn to relax the top of my face so that I was actually seeming more open. I wasn't just frowning at people as I was talking to them, even though I was smiling and even though everything else was going on. There would be that frown and that intense eye contact. But, training myself and learning that maybe that wasn't the best way to do it allowed me to get people to be a little bit more receptive, because it didn't seem like an attack against them, and it didn't seem like I was being kind of dismissive of them either. So we've got ourselves set up in regards to how we're sat down and how we're paying attention to the other person just by default. And so the next kind of couple of things are very much more about what to say and how to talk to the person about whatever it is that you're talking to them about. And the first thing that comes into my mind is the kind of praise sandwich. And this is the thing that gets talked about all over the place, with you going, okay, so we have the positive stuff first, then we have the negative stuff in the middle, and then we follow up with the positive at the bottom. And it does work, but obviously, depending on the weight of the negative stuff in the middle, sometimes the positive at the end can get kind of dropped off or ignored, or it doesn't work quite well. And it can leave that person still remembering the stuff in the middle, feeling very resentful of it, instead of feeling, okay, well, they said that I was doing really well, and then they said that there were a few things that I wasn't doing really well, but then they also said that this is how we could tackle it and how we could kind of move forward with it. And so focusing more on the positive is obviously a good thing, but obviously there's going to be some negative feedback in there somewhere, and if there has to be, then try and make sure that it's sat in between the good stuff, because otherwise, people are going to, if it's all bad, then people are going to resent you, people are going to recoil. If you're continually calling out a person on every bad thing they've done in one conversation, then then they're not going to be receptive to any suggestions you have after that point. And so as a result, trying to frame everything in terms of the person's strengths and unique contributions they've made, best kind of evidence of them demonstrating what you want, or collaborating with you or others, and working on points of commonality between kind of them and the rest of the team that are doing well around this. Getting that kind of, here are your strengths. This is the bad stuff that we need to tackle. Here's how the rest of the team is doing it, and you have done it in the past, so maybe we just need to get you to do it some more. Yeah? And so you can go, here's this great thing that you do, here's the bad stuff that we don't want you to do, but here's stuff that you've done in the past and other people on the team who have managed to get past this bad stuff, and you can too. Yeah, it gives it that nicer kind of feeling to it as you're coming out the other side. And then the last couple of things that I would say here are, pay attention to them, because obviously you're going to see them kind of reacting to what you're saying. If you're going to ask them a question, like, I don't know, if it's a work thing, again, one of the questions that springs to mind would be, once we had got through the negative stuff part of the praise sandwich, then the next bit before like the positive kind of way forward that we can move towards, was very much a question of what is it that makes you think that, what is it that has made you kind of fall off the wagon on this? You know, why are you having trouble with this thing? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? You know, and so it would be trying to work out where they were having the problem so that we could then make it easier for them working forward. And so, you know, when it gets to that point, you need to actually pay attention to the way that they've reacted, the way that they say things, and the way that they're kind of giving you the information, because obviously they're trying to give you everything that they can, especially if they think they're in trouble. They're going to try and give you what you want. And that isn't always necessarily what's best for them, or what's best for, in the case of a work situation, the business that you're part of. And so as a result, again, paying attention to what actually stands out as being what's affecting them relative to what they think that you want to hear, and then kind of doing that filtering and then helping them understand that you're not there just for you, you're there to help them as well. You know, it stands out. And you know, being authentic. Don't you know, if they're used to you being a certain way, then continue to be you in the discussion that you're having. You know, you don't need to suddenly become little Hitler just to impress this kind of point on someone. Yeah, if they know you, if they understand the way you work and understand the way in which you operate, then continue to roll with that. But obviously you've got these other things that you can just kind of keep in mind and roll with, just to make the conversation easier on you as much as make it easier on them. Because, as I've said, some of these discussions are just not enjoyable for anybody, but they need to be said, need to be had, and they need to be said. And so, you know, kind of tackling them and breaking them down in this way can make them easier to handle. It can make them kind of overall a more kind of productive and straightforward experience than one that leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth afterwards, as it were. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Is there anything else that you would add to what I've said here? How many times have you been in these conversations, especially at work, considering that is the play? People tend to kind of skirt away from these kind of discussions when it comes to relationships and friendships and things. Friendships, it tends to be just a case of, oh, well, we'll just let them get away with it, and if it continues to happen, I might mention something, but because they're a friend, and you'll get, you know, you'll make excuses for them, or you just don't want to tackle them because you're afraid of losing them. In a relationship, people tend to be even more afraid of conflict and confrontation, and as a result they will step away from these discussions, or they'll misconstrue them as arguments when it's just a very straightforward discussion or conversation about why a person said or did a thing, why they left such and such in such a state, and so on and so forth. And yet if you actually have the conversation, you know, arguments and conversations like this that are not comfortable allow for growth. They push a couple, or any working relationship really, into that stretch zone where the people can grow and where the relationship can grow. And so, you know, as a result, taking this on board is kind of worthwhile to every situation, which is, you know, why I wanted to bring it up with you guys. But anyway, as said, please leave down in the comments anything that you would add to this list, any other things that you think might be worthwhile for someone to take into consideration when they're having a tough conversation like this, be it work-related, relationship-related, or whatever. And otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful and interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.